And we are back. It is Thursday, 2 o'clock. So you know what that means, right? We stepping in between the lines with Gray and AJ. We got a great show for you guys today. Man, we're going to talk baseball in the Olympics because it's coming back for 2028. But it hasn't been a permanent sport since like 2005, 2008. We got Max Crosby. He was first traded to the Ravens. Now he's not traded to the Ravens. And now he's staying. He plans to stay a Raider. So what's that whole situation looking like? NCAA and how it's affected by NIL. What kind of parameters should be set? Should there even be any parameters? How do you feel about NIL? And then also, the World Baseball Classic just started their quarterfinals. The first quarterfinals game will be Friday, Korea versus the Dominican Republic. We're now in the quarterfinals. Who plans on taking the whole thing? Is it the Team USA? Is it the Dominican Republic? Does Japan repeat? We got all that and more right after this break, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. And we are back. You guys are listening to Between the Lines on Hawk Radio, the official radio station of Hillsborough College. Now, before we went to break, we talked a little bit about baseball in the Olympics. Baseball became official medal sport in the Olympics back in 1992 at the Barcelona Games, right? And it was still in the Olympics for a couple years, but then it got voted out in 2000. It was officially voted out in 2005, but it made its last permanent appearance, in 2008 at the Beijing Olympics. Since then, it's only really appeared sporadically throughout the years, making its return in 2020 for the Tokyo Olympics, obviously because baseball is huge in Japan. And then it's supposed to come back here in 2028 at the LA Games or Los Angeles Olympic Games. Question is though, should baseball be an permanent Olympic sport like soccer, track and field? Should it be a permanent Olympic sport again?
I mean, if you look at all the major sports, um, basketball, they have, that in the Olympics. They have soccer in the Olympics, like we talked about earlier. I think it should come back. I think it would be huge. You have the World Baseball Classic, and that's amazing. But to perform for your country in that type of sense is awesome. And I think it'd be huge for people like Aaron Judge and all the big name guys in baseball to be able to compete for a gold medal.
No, yeah, because World Baseball Classic, like you said, is something phenomenal to have, right? And the World Baseball Classic came in 2006 to help supplement the fact that it was no longer going to be an Olympic sport come after the Beijing Olympics. So I think, and right now, and the reason it was voted out, according to like MLB and all these resources that I was able to find, it lacked popularity in Europe, right? And makes sense, doesn't make sense also at the same time, given the time frame. Because obviously soccer is huge in Europe. There's a global popularity for like track and field, soccer, wrestling, all those sports. But you see where baseball is today, right? World Baseball Classic, almost every country is now putting their best players out there to compete. So I don't think it's no longer a valid excuse to say, oh, it's not as popular anymore. The popularity's there, the numbers is there, the viewership is there. And you saw the numbers it did back in when it was part of the Tokyo Olympics. Obviously, numbers were affected because it was COVID. Things couldn't happen. Come LA, I think you're really going to get a feel to how many viewers are going to tune in to baseball at the Olympics because there's not really going to be any restrictions. And now it's going to be whether or not everybody puts forward their best outcome. You know what I mean?
So do you think it's more like because the MLB doesn't want to do it mid-season because it'll be during the season, right? It'll be during the season. So do you think it's more because the MLB doesn't have it during the season or has it during the season? Like the Olympics will be played while the
So
MLB is going on.
if it's anything like the WNBA handled it, it'll be that because the WNBA had a shortened season, a more compact season when it was along the Olympic year. Because I think it was 2024 Paris Games, and the WNBA season ran along the same time frame, and they just put a pause in their season.
Okay.
So if they do it in the same fashion, then it'll be where they'll have a break at some point. Your best players go and represent you at the Olympics. And you know these players want to, because Bryce Harper even said, look, the World Baseball Classic's great and everything, but it's not the Olympics. The Olympics are the world stage. The best of the best go and compete. I think that will help a lot with, I think, bringing eyes to baseball if you want it to gain
Right.
popularity, because it's no longer, oh, Baseball Classics every 4 years and you got to wait. Now it's, you'll get every 4 years a World Baseball Classic, and then every 4 years you're getting Olympics. So your best players are going to be always competing. It's like what the All Star game used to be for the NBA, right? Where it was your best players, your Kobe's, your Michael Jordans, your Karl Malones. It was, as Kobe put it, it's supposed to be the world's best pickup game.
Yeah.
Your best athletes come together to see who can win and beat out the other team. I think that's what the Olympics can provide for these baseball players now that the WBC can, but I think more of that will help elevate the sport going further.
Right. And then you look at it. Do you think there's going to be like a dream team if the USA brings a team to the 2028 Olympics? Like, do you think that that's going to be that kind of caliber, comparing it to the NBA?
I think if there is an Olympics, I don't necessarily say dream team because I think it's going to be the same situation you get with the WM. It's the same situation you get with the World Baseball Classic. It's going to be a lot of players are going to want to go home and play for their country, right?
Right.
Otani, Yamamoto, they're going to go back and play for Japan. You're going to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Juan Soto goes back to play for the DR. You're going to get Hae-Sung Kim and Jung Hoo Lee going back to play for Korea. You're going to see a lot of these guys go back to their countries and play. I think if the USA competes and they put their best players, you're going to get roughly probably the same team you get now.
Right.
But unlike the WBC, I think you're going to get players who will play longer. Because I know with the whole Tariq Skubal situation, he said that he's only going to play one game in the WBC because he doesn't want to risk injury.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing with the WBC. because it is so long that it will run into those kinds of issues because you got the pool play, then it's followed by the quarterfinals and semifinals and then the finals. Depending on how they do it at the Olympics, if they can adjust that and if they get more star pitchers willing to play, I think you can see a lot more guys stay longer to win. And because it hasn't been a sport for so long, I think a lot of guys will be itching at the chance to go and win an Olympic medal.
So I think the biggest concern is obviously injury, like you put it right there. But the thing with the MLB is, you have 100+ games in a season, and that's so hard for a pitcher to pitch consistently, especially with how fast they're pitching, how much their elbows go out nowadays. And, that's a concern for starting pitchers, especially if you're on a team like the Detroit Tigers with Tariq Skubal.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a studded lineup this year.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it being like, we could go all the way this year and compete with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Why am I going to risk
getting an injury?
Right.
And then he's also and then he's also a contract year for him. They didn't offer him the money he wanted to. He had to go to arbitration to get the money.
Right.
So I can foresee him leaving after this year. But to your point, a lot of these starters don't want to get hurt.
Right.
It is the WBC. It's a grand stage for them, but it's not Olympics, right? Because every athlete, whether or not you're an Olympic athlete or just an athlete in general who doesn't have a sport there, you want an Olympic medal, right? Because that shows, look, I beat the world's best. I was the world's best on this day. So I believe that going forward, these guys you'll get the best players from the U.S. Regardless, and you'll have a better rotation, whereas you'll get Paul Skeens, you'll get Tariq Skubal, you'll get Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal, you'll get Tyler Glasnow, you'll get a lot of these star pitchers. You'll get a Garrett Crochet going to play for Team USA because they want a chance to win a gold medal. Whereas the WBC, these guys don't think of it as highly. And that was the issue in the past with Team USA sending players to go play at the WBC. It wasn't always
the best of the best.
The best of the best. It was always the guys who, oh look, it's cool, I'll go do it. You really started to see a lot of these guys play in 2023 when they lost to Japan, right? Because you got Mookie Betts, you had Mike Trout, and so I think that's when a lot of guys here in the U.S. looked at the WBC kind of differently. I think it's also being Americans ourselves. It's an ego thing, right?
Yeah, right.
We don't want to get beat. We want to be the best. So seeing our best get beat by Japan's best, I think was a little ego shot for them. So good or bad, take it however you want. I think it's an ego shot for them. So they want to prove, look, we do it. We got the premier league in baseball. So I think a lot of those guys are going to want to do it this year at the WBC. They're also going to want to do it in 2028 at the Olympics.
Yeah, and I think before we got on the air, you and I were talking about how they went out partying before the game against Italy.
Now that's hearsay. Those are stuff going around.
It is hearsay. It's not confirmed, not data.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at that and hearing that, I think it'll be different at the Olympics because the WBC, as much as the USA wants to win and everything, it's not winning an Olympic medal for USA. Right?
And then it's not as tightly compact to where at the Olympics you have, I think at the Winter Olympics it was the Winter Village. Before that it was, there's always some type of compound for Olympic athletes to be at, to stay focused and to stay ready for those games that are coming up. Whereas the WBC it's a little bit more loose because you have 4 different venues. You have, for the WBC, you got Houston, Miami, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and you have the Tokyo Dome. 4 different locations, whereas baseball here at the Olympics is going to be in one central location in LA because you got, I think, 2-3 baseball stadiums in LA.
Right.
And there's going to be, I don't want to say compound like it's a bad thing, but there's going to be some sort of Olympic village for these guys to stay at. And hopefully at the Olympics, they'll be more focused and more ready to play, more so how they treated facing Italy in their last game of the pool play.
Yeah. I think it'll be a great idea to bring the Olympics back. It's always amazing as an athlete to win a medal for your country.
Yep.
And obviously, I think baseball is arguably more competitive than if you look at it from the basketball standpoint.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of people from different countries all together.
Yep.
You look at the Dodgers; they're all different nationalities.
Any team right now in baseball.
Right. They all and if you're looking at the USA, it's not as competitive in basketball.
No.
You know, you look at the main competitors. Luka Doncic plays for.
I couldn't tell you.
Slovenia,
something like that.
Something around that. Sorry if I'm butchering that right now. But you look at Nikola Jokic, for example, plays for Serbia. You look at Victor Wembanyama plays for France.
Joel Embiid plays for. I think Joel Embiid plays for France too, or is it
Senegal?
something? Yeah,
Senegal maybe.
yeah,
But if you look at them, they're amazing players, but they don't have that support system like
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani in Japan has,
Yep.
with a bunch of amazing players in their own atmosphere.
yeah. And I think that's gonna play a lot into it too, because like you said, competitiveness, right? Basketball has always been a U.S. dominated sport. Baseball is a world dominated sport right now,
Right.
and as you can see. Okay, maybe at the time it wasn't popular, but you see the eyes on baseball now. You see the popularity in it now. And it's only growing with who you have coming over and who you have representing the sport. It's always been huge on your islands like the DR, Cuba, Puerto Rico.
Right.
It's big in Asia with Korea, Japan. I don't know if it's big in China, but I know China always competes. But you see these sports now growing. You're seeing guys like Italy compete, Czechoslovakia compete. You're seeing the popularity grow and become bigger. And I think
Yeah.
with that, it sets up the perfect world stage for the Olympics.
It's almost like the World Cup in comparison.
Yeah, that's how I've always compared it. It's the World Cup for baseball. And to see it back on the world stage, I think would be a great thing, a beautiful thing, and it help get eyes on it. So that's our opinions on it. Whether or not you think it should be or you think it shouldn't be, let us know. Hey, we'll be right back after this break. After this break, we got NCAA and NIL. Should there be parameters? Should there not be? We'll come back after the break and discuss it. Stay right here.
White lights sounding off 3 a.m. and no escape. No escape. Walk the aisles, illuminating worlds. Lose yourself inside of me. Rest your eyes, weary from the day. Never mind, that's away. Welcome to the night. Sweat from your fear. There's no escape. A sound in the hole, curling into a ball. It won't go away. Golden times, nursery rhymes, renounce your claim. Golden times, no friend am I. I've come to rule your life. Renounce your claim, renounce your claim, renounce your claim, control. Renounce your claim, renounce your claim, renounce your claim, control. Renounce your claim, renounce your claim, renounce your claim, control your brain. Renounce your claim, renounce your claim, white
And we are back. You guys are listening to Between the Lines on Hawk Radio, the official radio station of Hillsborough College. Now, we talked about baseball in the Olympics. We're talking about NCAA and NIL. NCAA and NIL has been a big topic of discussion these last couple of years since it's been instituted in college sports, with a lot of athletes getting big money, but now you're getting a lot of athletes who are transferring schools just to get money. Do you think there should be parameters around how to control, I guess, the money that's now being pumped into college sports? do you think there shouldn't be? And also, how do you feel about NIL in sports?
So
in
for all
college sports?
For all you listeners out there, NCAA is my bread and butter. I've been watching it all day the last 2 days. I know just about every roster in the main conferences, the SEC, ACC, all of the good ones. If you're looking at NIL from a standpoint, players deserve to be paid. They're bringing so much money in. If you look at the Big 12 tournament, they're now implementing a new court. It's not fully hardwood. It's like not laminated, but it's controlled by AI. So you have this screen, and they're playing ads on the courts during the games.
How about we don't do that?
Right.
Because talk about fans or players watching. Talk about
all
the distraction.
monetized, man. It's all monetized. And a Kansas State player just spoke out about it. He said it's not like it. It was slippery. You could see the players slipping. It's not like the traditional hardwoods that they play on.
Yeah.
And it changes the game. But if we're looking at NIL, I don't think there should necessarily be parameters in a sense where there shouldn't be a cap on how much a player can be paid.
Yeah.
Darren Peterson, one example, gets paid about $2 million from Kansas this year. Projected to be the number 1 overall draft pick, but he's missed half the season.
Mm-hmm.
And he's missing half the season because he knows he's going number 1. He's getting paid money anyways. And his coach is like, I haven't even been able to coach him. So in that sense, I think that they should be required to pay or play a certain amount of games.
So it should be like an NFL contract, like a professional contract in the sense of
guarantees.
You play this many games, you'll get this much money. There should be incentives rather than you're getting a guaranteed $2 million and you don't even have to play every game.
Well, yeah, if you look at the coaching staff, they make money for how far they go in tournaments. Yeah. They make money for how far they go in the NCAA tournament. That should almost be implemented in NIL in a way.
Yeah. So, but as I do think there should be parameters because I think a lot of players right now are taking advantage of it where this college is not giving me the money I want. I'm going to go jump in the portal and go somewhere else. I think that with that being the case, these guys should not be treated as amateurs anymore.
No.
Because they're not. They're getting paid $2-3 million, but they still want to be considered amateurs. They still want all this stuff that comes with being an amateur athlete. But at the same time, you can't be considered that. You're getting paid. Yes, you're not getting paid as like $100 million like these NFL players are or these basketball players. But at the same time, you're still making more than the average person for playing how many games in a college basketball season?
31, 32.
Yeah, something like that. And that's not even including probably March
Conferences
Madness.
and tournaments and stuff, yeah.
So you're getting paid all this money for 32 games, and you're taking advantage of I'm going to jump from here to here because they're going to pay me more money. A perfect example of that is who's the college quarterback who jumped from, I want to say Tennessee, and went to UCLA.
Nico
Lamaleva or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to butcher his last name, but
I'm hoping I said his last name right.
Lavia or something.
Yeah,
yes.
Perfect example, right? He didn't. Tennessee wasn't going to give him the money he wanted, so he entered the portal to try and get more money. He ended up having to take less money to go to UCLA. And so I think there should be a regulation on how much, not necessarily how much money they get, but I guess in the sense of, like you said, they need to control their sense of how much you get paid for how many games you play, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and another thing that comes into mind, I don't know how well you know certain players, but DeRitter on Virginia is currently a 22-year-old rookie coming from overseas. That is ridiculous. He has 4 years of eligibility. He can be playing as a 25-year-old in 3 years, playing against 18-year-olds coming straight out of high school. I don't know about you, but I was not conditioned to play against a 25-year-old grown man when I was an 18-year-old.
And so, but if you said he's a foreign athlete coming over, right?
Yeah, so he has eligibility from that.
I can understand that, but at the same time, like you said, it's a 25-year-old playing against a bunch of 18-year-olds. There's some discrepancy there. I think at a certain age, they need to have a little bit of a cap, okay?
Right.
Because that's not fair. You got grown man strength versus an 18-year-old coming out of college, coming out of high school, not college.
Yeah, and they're recruiting. Instead of recruiting those high school athletes, right, you're looking at the top 100 ESPN ranked. Those people are always going to get recruited, right? Because they're amazing athletes. They're amazing, phenomenal players. But now coaches are switching to recruiting from, number one, overseas, people who have pro experience in that circuit. Number two, they're looking directly at the transfer portal. And I think it's going to be the decimation of high school sports because if you're looking at it, not many kids are going to be recruited. They're going JUCO now.
Yeah.
Tremendous athletes are going to JUCO first for 2
Mhm.
years, or they're going to a mid-major college where they're scoring 25 points a game
Yeah.
and being an amazing player, and
And
then
the-
transferring out.
Yeah.
But it ruins their chances of going straight to the NBA out of college.
And to your point on that, I think that's another way NIL is really affecting college sports, right? Because you're seeing a lot of recruiting now is different. Whereas back in the day, it's I can offer you the best chance to make the NFL, the best chance to make the NBA. But at that, I can give you the best education possible. Where now it's, okay, I can offer you the best chance to make certain amount of money.
Instead
Whereas-
of education.
And now, we used to know it used to happen under the table, obviously, Reggie Bush and all these guys. You knew it happened, like, on the down low.
Rick Pitino.
Yeah, you knew it happened on the down low, but now it's out in the open and it's legal. So now these guys are throwing millions of dollars at these guys, and I think the perception of it is grown bigger, and I don't want to say grown more negative, but there's become more of a negative impact on college athletes getting paid. I do think college athletes should be paid because you are using their name, likeness, you're using and their name, likeness, and image to make money off these guys, these boosters,
Yeah.
everyone. So they should be paid, but it's how they should be paid because now they're getting revenue shares, they're getting sponsorship deals. So now it's okay, how do you manage that but also balance out competitiveness within college football?
I think the biggest thing, let's look back 10 years. The biggest thing about athletes in college is the name student athlete. Student
Yeah.
came before athlete.
Yep.
And now the question to be asked is, are these kids even getting an education anymore? Because they're making more than their college professors.
These kids are
most of
showing
them.
up in Lambos,
Right.
Rolls Royce to a college practice game.
Right. And you're going to your, psychology 101 class, learning from a professor that doesn't make even close to what you're making
Yeah.
just by playing a sport. What goes to say about the education they're getting?
No, yeah, that's exactly the point because they're no longer student athletes. They're athlete. They're there to make money for the school.
They're
Sh-
professional athletes.
Oh, yeah. They're no longer, the student part's been erased. The student's no longer in that title. It's athlete, professional athlete, however you want to slice it. But at the same time, these guys are no longer there. They're there to put on a highlight reel, get as much money as they can, and then go to the NFL. But now with NIL, you're seeing a lot of players try and stay longer to make money there. Whereas when you go to the NFL, there's a certain hit that these guys are going to take. Okay, you're going to get this in incentives. You're not going to get this fully much guaranteed.
Right.
Then it becomes a business for them. Whereas college, it's a business now, but it's not as it's not as a business that the NFL is. Whereas it's cut and dry. Look, if you're not playing well, I'm gonna cut you.
Yeah.
If you ask for so much, I'm gonna cut you. Whereas college, it's okay. We can work a little bit out. We can give you sponsorships and all this other stuff. Whereas NFL, it's black and white. You play good, you get paid. You do this many touchdowns, you get this much in incentives. So it's definitely become more of a business than a institution for education, if anything.
Right. And then you look at coaches like John Calipari, who still recruits out of high school because he loves the coaching aspect of it.
Yep.
Now, if you're a coach for a big program like Texas Tech
Yep.
or
Alabama.
Auburn, Alabama, you're calling up players and they're being like, hey, I don't care who you are. How
Yeah.
much money are you giving me?
Pretty
I don't
much.
care about the coaching aspect.
Yeah.
I don't care about my development. How much money are you
Yeah.
going to pay me?
That's a
How
big-
much am I
yeah.
worth?
That's a big reason why Nick Saban left. It's because NIL. He
Yeah.
knew it was going to affect the game going forward. So he got out before it even started. And you saw where the Alabama program has gone since then.
Right.
When Nick Saban was there, they'd always have like 5-6 guys go in the first round. Your players were disciplined. And they weren't just football players, but they were young men who got an education and were great on the field and off the field. But now you're seeing the program, it's like, okay, the program ain't all that. You're seeing these guys, one, you're not Nick Saban,
Right.
who's the coach now, and two, how much money you paying me to go play for you now? It's no
Right.
longer that whole thing.
And if you look at the NCAA tournament March Madness that everyone loves last year, they didn't have as many upsets because all these teams are so competitive now.
Yeah, exactly. NIL right now is affecting college sports in almost every aspect, from education to recruiting to competitiveness. And I think there does need to be parameters. You don't think there needs to be parameters, but there needs to be some sort of regulation, and they
Yes.
should start getting professional athlete type of contracts in terms of incentives and guaranteed money, not flat out, I'm going to give you $2 million to come play here. So that is NIL and the NCAA. Make sure you guys stay right here. We got Max Crosby getting traded, then not traded, not going through. So it's a whole mess.
We'll go all
We'll
over.
go.
We'll go over
We'll
it.
go over it right back after this break. So stay right here. We're gonna have some fun. And we are back. You guys are listening to Between the Lines on Hawk Radio, the official radio station of Hillsborough College. Now, we talked about NFL. Well, we talked about baseball. We've talked a little bit about football. Now, Max Crosby, his whole situation is kind of a mess. He was traded to the Ravens. Ravens gave up 2 first-round picks for him, a 26 and a 27. Then he failed his physical. And so now he's not getting traded to the Ravens, and he's going back to the Raiders. And then he came out recently and said he's committed to the Raiders for the season. But the question is, are the Raiders committed to him, or are they going to try and trade him again?
So, I think he's going to be committed to the Raiders. I think that him failing his physical was the worst thing for him. I don't think that teams are going to look as a positive acquisition, especially with what the Ravens were giving up for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's worth the first round and second round pick. I don't even think that he would have made the Ravens title contenders.
I don't think he would have made them title contenders either. But the whole thing about this failing a physical thing, he had offseason surgery to repair his meniscus. So going into this physical and going into the trade, the Ravens knew that, and they still decided to give up 2 first-round picks. So I guess the Ravens kind of, because I talked to someone earlier, I talked to a friend about it earlier, and he even said, I think the Ravens got cold feet, right?
Yeah.
Because you knew going into this deal, he had off-season surgery. Everybody knew he was going to be out probably till June, July.
Yeah.
And so that's why the asking price was you didn't get a lot of teams going out there trying to get him because they wanted a Quinnen Williams type of deal for him.
Yes. Yeah.
They wanted a first round, maybe 2 first rounders, maybe 1, but then a player. I'm like, for a guy who just had surgery on his meniscus, you're not probably going to get that. But they were lucky to get it with the Ravens. And going into that, the Ravens had to have known, okay, this guy's going to be out. So why even make the trade in the first place if you're just going to back out of the deal and then go sign Trey Hendrickson? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if they were toying with the Raiders or what, because the Raiders have made a ton of acquisitions. These draft picks were going to be huge for their organization.
Yep.
I actually looked at them as a team. They probably could have won 6, 7, 8 games next year.
Yeah, they
with-
definitely would have had a better season than they did last year.
Well, I mean, I'm not very high on Fernando Mendoza, but he's going there.
oh, he's better than who they have now.
Yeah, Geno Smith, he went back to what? The Jets?
I
think the
I
Jets
don't
just
know who
signed
he
him.
went.
I think the Jets just signed him again. And he threw what, like 18 or 19 interceptions? It might have been 20 plus
Probably.
interceptions. I mean, dude,
Probably.
I was watching those games being like, I can't even watch this anymore. He's throwing to no one.
Dude. But yeah, Max Crosby, his whole situation is a mess. But because of the trade that they thought was going to happen, they went out and signed Linderbaum. They went out and signed one of the top corners. They got 2 first rounders on top of their first round pick. And so it's like, okay, so theoretically, if the trade goes through, they got Mendoza going first. You know he's going to Oakland.
Yep.
Not Oakland, to Vegas. You know they're getting a second first round pick in this year's draft. They got the cap space now with these guys with the trade. So you're able to go out and sign Linderbaum in one of the top corners. But now that the trade is through, how's that going to affect the money going forward? Are they going to have the money to officially sign Linderbaum in the top corner? And now they lose a first round draft pick that they thought was going to happen this year. So this whole situation just makes it a complete mess for everybody.
Well, thank God all those signings are preliminary.
Yeah.
They're not official yet.
Until
so
Wednesday, I think is what
I think
it
it's
says.
Wednesday.
Yep.
I think it's Wednesday is the date. So they still have time to decide whether they have that cap space or they can move Max
Yep.
Crosby. But again, this is just a full trash fire. It's hard for the Raiders. You're looking to finally reconvene and start a new road
Yep.
to victory.
Yeah.
And you look at their acquisitions and everything, and it looked like they were on the right path, and now this just put a fork in the road for them.
Yeah. The question is going forward, how are the Raiders going to really handle it? Are they going to try and still put him out on the market? Say, hey, look, he's still a great player, but you're going to have to bring your asking price down.
That's
for
what I was
sure.
just about to say. Yeah.
Because now he's failed a physical. So teams are going to look at that. Ooh, we can probably get him. I don't want to say get him for cheap, but you're going to get him cheaper than what they were asking for initially going forward. But I think this situation is mostly going to backfire on the Ravens because people are going to look at them like, but again, everyone across the league knew he had offseason surgery. So why going into it did you make the moves that you did and then back out last minute?
But I just saw some article about how the Ravens GM has been doing shady deals for a while.
Really?
Yeah, he's been doing like this type of stuff in this sort of atmosphere for a while.
Wow.
So this is typical of the Ravens, they're saying.
That honestly, that kind of surprised me because I know the Ravens have always been. I don't say have always been, but no, I'll say has always been a pinnacle of respect in the NFL, minus the whole Ray Rice situation,
Right.
and some of the other scandals they've had. But as an organization in themselves, I think they've always done right by the players who have done them right and how they've done other players. So hearing that is kind of a shocker.
I think it's more team to team and not individual players and re-signings and that type of stuff. I think it's more trading.
Okay. Well, then I can understand that because, again, NFL is a business, so certain things happen. I just think it was kind of wrong how the Ravens went about it with the Raiders because you had a verbal agreement, you had a paper agreement with them if he passed his physical, but you knew going into it he had off-season surgery. So you can't expect him to, I guess, pass the physical when he's still recovering from this injury. When everyone knew or speculated that he was going to be out till June or July. So to have you potentially trade for him and then last minute say, "Oop, nope, I don't want him anymore," you take him back. You screw over the Raiders because now they got to figure out money. Then the Ravens clear up, oh, we can go then sign Trey Hendrickson. You screw over the Raiders because now they're in a crap storm of trying to figure out what to do next.
Right. Yeah, I don't really know what's next for Max Crosby. All I know is they're not going to get the same.
No, they're not. They're not getting the same offer. I think going forward, Max Crosby, once he's healed, he's definitely going to be on I'ma prove it that I'm still the player that I was before. Because he's always been a phenomenal player. Whether or not the asking price was too high,
Yeah.
when he's healthy, he can be a game changer.
He is a game changer. He's
Exactly.
absolutely a game changer. I
Mhm.
mean, you look at his pass rush efficiency, and he rushed quarterbacks into making errant throws, and that would lead to interceptions, and he would sack people
Yeah.
and lead to fumbles. He's an amazing player, but I also don't know what this injury calls for in his future.
Yeah, and to your point, he's been in the league 7 years now, which I didn't know
I had
because I've
no
always
idea.
thought he was in probably just a little bit shorter, but he's been in the league 7 years. He's played 110 games, and in those 110 games, he's had 11 forced fumbles, 402 total tackles, 69 and a half sacks, and 1 interception. And to my knowledge, he's only really had one major offseason surgery, which was this year on his meniscus. He's had ankle injuries, elbow injuries, that kind of stuff. But this is the first real major injury he's had on his knee. Now, I think that's probably going to affect maybe his speed a little bit, but I don't think because he's always been a finesse power guy. So I think if he better buckles down on his finesse going forward, he's going to still be as dangerous as when he was a speed, finesse, and power guy.
Right.
So
Right, and I mean, you look at players like Saquon Barkley. I know I brought this up in an
Yeah.
episode before. The ACL tear on him didn't affect him. I don't know if it's going to affect Max Crosby because he's
Yep.
just such a mentally focused player.
yep. He played with a cast on at one point, did he not?
Yeah, no, he did. And you're looking at him from a standpoint where he's playing for the Raiders, which was a losing team, and he
They're always
still
a
played
losing
so
team.
hard. He still played so hard all the time. I mean,
Yep.
you would still see him go out full effort, 110% every time.
Yeah.
So I still think he'd be a great acquisition for teams. Where do you think maybe is his best market to go to?
Personally, I'm a Patriots fan, so I'm gonna say New England.
Of course.
But we also look at it, and unjokingly, unbiasedly, I think New England would probably be the best fit.
Yeah.
Just because you have Vrabel there, and he's a player, and he's gone through what probably Max Crosby is going through now. So probably best mentor for him to get through it and then get back to where he was before the injury. I think that'll be a good fit. I think going to San Francisco because you got Nick Bosa if he's still there.
He is.
You got
As of right now.
As of right now. You got Nick Bosa, so I think that duo would be dangerous. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and Max Crosby. That defense, that pass rush would be lethal.
You know, in terms of need, who I think? Take a
Who?
wild guess.
For who? Need for
Like
Max
just
Crosby?
a better pass rusher.
a need for a better pass rusher. I would probably go
Terrible defense.
terrible defense. There are plenty of terrible defenses.
But like one that like you think of that has a good offense, made the playoffs the last 2 seasons, can't win in the first round.
I would say Baltimore.
No, I was gonna Chargers.
Oh yeah. Well, the Chargers had a pretty good defense last year, but it was the offense that let them down.
Yeah,
But they also ran into my New England Patriots. So
of
I'm
course
just
they
saying,
did.
So
You guys got lucky.
we beat the brakes off of them. We put belt to butt on that in that game.
You did.
We got our butts handed to us in the Super Bowl, but that's a totally different subject that I don't want to
No,
talk
we're not
about.
getting into that.
No, but that honestly would not be bad because you got Khalil Mack. If
Yeah.
Joey Bosa's still there, I think
Yes,
he is.
Yeah, but I think he got hurt
Yeah,
at the end of the season.
but even then, whole offseason, Max Crosby, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. Ooh, you better watch out
Yeah,
now.
you add Justin Herbert in the mix and finally getting his groove on.
Oh yeah, man, you better watch out now. Now that's Max Crosby. That's NFL. We're gonna go back to baseball after this break, right? World Baseball Classic, like I said, is in the quarterfinals, so we itching close. We itching to the finals. Question is, who's got the best odds to win the entire thing,
This is going to be a good debate, so tune in.
dude? I know who I'm taking. You know who you taking?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, make sure you guys stay right here after the break. We're gonna have some fun. And we are back. You guys are listening to Between the Lines on Hawk Radio, the official radio station of Hillsborough College. Now we're going to get back into baseball. The World Baseball Classic, their quarterfinals start tomorrow. The first two games of the quarterfinals is Korea versus the Dominican Republic and the U.S. versus Canada. The question on the table, who you taking to win it all?
Dominican Republic. I think that they're so good with Juan Soto, Tatis, Guerrero. Juan Soto looks like he's been on a tear.
Dude,
He has the most confidence I've ever seen in a player.
he can have as much confidence as he wants. That don't mean he going to win. See,
All
now,
right.
I'm taking, realistically, unbiasedly, I think Japan's going to go back-to-back.
That's fair.
Because they got Yoshi, Seiya Suzuki, Shohei's playing out of his mind.
Take Japan out of
Kazuma
it.
Okamoto.
Take Japan out of it.
But personally, who I want to see win, we going to go with, we keeping it in Asia, but I want to see Korea win.
I don't think they're beating the DR.
We going to see. See, here's the thing. My mom, now here's a little thing about me. I'm Puerto Rican Dominican. My mom's Puerto Rican and Dominican. And it's kind of funny because I'm rooting for Korea.
Yeah.
And obviously she's rooting for the DR and Puerto Rico. I texted my mom earlier, look, we on different sides tomorrow, right? She go, we're going to put tape around the house and we don't cross our lines. You stay on your side, I stay on my side.
Valid.
But either way, I would personally love to see Korea win. One, they haven't made it past the pool play in 17 years. So this will be the first time they're in the quarterfinals since then. And they've never won a WBC. DR's already won one. They can go kick rocks.
I get it, but they're in a hard division, man. You got the DR, you got the USA.
DR,
You were just telling me Canada won
theirs.
theirs.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't think they're very good. But
You don't think who's very good? Canada?
Canada.
Dude, watch. The Canadians going to go beat that butt. Was it? Wow.
USA?
Yeah, they're going to beat the USA. I'm
Yeah,
taking
well-
Canada. Mainly because I don't like how USA approached the game
Yeah,
to
the hearsay.
Italy.
Yeah.
And the whole hearsay where they were partying the night before. But even then, you saw with the manager, the fact that he thought they already clinched a quarterfinal spot when they didn't, and he puts his, I don't want to say his worst players out there, but the players who want your starters out there to play that game.
It doesn't even matter. You're competing in a world stage. You should
Yeah.
play the best as is, and you shouldn't care if you made the quarterfinals. Still play players that let you win. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's going to be definitely what it's going to come down to. I think you're underestimating Korea. Let me tell you what their stats were for the first round during pool play. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So Korea had 136 at-bats, 28 runs, 33 hits, 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, 16 walks. Granted, they had 36 strikeouts, and then they had 243. They're batting about 243. DR is who you think's going to win, right?
Yes.
91 at-bats, and these are all before, obviously, yesterday's games
Right.
for some of these guys, because their games come on late, man.
Right.
I'm just saying. 91 at-bats, 34 home runs, 29 hits, 9 home runs, 33 RBIs, 29 walks, 13 strikeouts, and they're batting 319. Obviously, things have probably changed a couple since last night's game. And pitching-wise, the DR has a 180 ERA, 30 strikeouts, and people hit 176 against them. Now, all that being said, they are the top dogs, yeah, sure, but don't underestimate them. USA underestimated Italy, and what happened? Italy beat them.
I'm not underestimating, and I don't
DR,
think
if the DR goes in there underestimating my boys, the Korea gonna put it on them. Bo Kyung Moon? He gonna get himself a grand slam. He gonna get a couple RBIs. Hae-Sung Kim gonna get himself a home run and a couple RBIs. You watch.
one name, Juan Soto.
That don't mean nothing.
It does.
That-
I
what's he gonna-
promise you, Juan Soto is.
He gonna shuffle his way back to the dugout is what he gonna do.
Yeah, he's about to hit for like 6 homers in that game, and I
Nope.
don't know if he'll even get 6 at bats. That's how confident I am in him.
Nope. He gonna Soto shuffle himself back to the dugout
He's
when he
not.
gets struck out is what's
He's
gonna
not.
happen. Him, Vlad, and Tatis.
I just don't see them
We gonna
losing
see-
to Korea, man.
One's
Oh.
going back to Toronto. Another one's going back to New York. The other one's getting sent back to the Padres. You can kiss them all goodbye. Korea taking this one, but realistically, unbiasedly, I do think Japan's gonna win it all.
Yeah, they're just studs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Shohei Otani, you can't.
you can't.
He's the
No.
GOAT. He's the GOAT of baseball.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And that team supporting cast is amazing as well. I
Exactly.
think they're going back to back,
Exactly.
especially with the USA. Hearsay, drinking before games.
Party.
They're not locked in.
Exactly. Now, personal level, obviously you're taking the DR. I'm taking Korea on a personal level. We gonna see tomorrow night, won't we? I'll make sure to text you when we beat you. Hey,
Okay.
how you doing? Don't
We'll-
worry.
We'll see.
So, Hey, we had a great show today. We talked a little bit about the Olympics, a little bit of WBC, the whole Max Crosby Messi situation that's going on right there. That whole thing's a dumpster fire. Let's be real. And we talked a little bit about NIL and NCAA, how that's affecting college sports in its entirety. But we got to sign off today, man. It's getting to that time. We got to step out from between the lines. We'll be back stepping in between the lines with a bunch of more sports content.
March Madness.
March Madness is gonna heat up. They were supposed to be releasing the bracket this week or next week.
Selection Sunday.
Ooh, we gonna see. I'm looking forward to the women's bracket because I watch more women's basketball than anything. And that's right, women's basketball. Y'all sleeping on it, but don't worry. I think it's still gonna be a fun day. But that's gonna be it for us today, guys. Much love, much peace. We out.